I got a good show for y'all. A lot to talk about. Kareem the Dream, keep up with everything.
Get your entertainment news with Kareem on the Traffic Jam, Thursday at 4 p.m.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects. For more information, visit kingcounty.gov.
What's going on, world? It's your boy OG Mambo.
And your guy D Money. Join us along with Pint Size Patron and ID Yourself
Here on Fresh Juice at Rainier Avenue Radio.
every Wednesday hump day from 9 to 11 Pacific.
Get exclusive interviews from your favorite artists, all the hottest music, and updates on what we got going on in the world.
That's every Wednesday, 9 to 11 p.m. on Seattle's Rainier Avenue Radio.
Sing with us as we fill the historic Columbia City Theater with our voices. Join Crowdsource Choir on May 23rd for a soulful, participatory night of singing. Come raise the collective vibration with us at the Columbia City Theater. Tickets at crowdsourcechoir.com.
You know you can't get enough of Rainier Avenue Radio. Got work. Can't get enough of that. Can't get enough of that.
Hey, y'all. This is Dr. Traci Harrell, and you're watching Better Together and Living Powerfully. I could not be more excited to just join you for another day. And I say that, because I have been to and heard of more funerals in the last couple of weeks that I'm comfortable with, literally. So when I say I'm glad to be here, I mean, I'm literally glad to be here, to be present, to show up for you. And I think, this work, doing this show in this way is one of the honors, honestly, of my life. Someone asked, why are you doing that again? I'm joking. How much are you getting paid? No, I'm joking. So this is my gift. This is my gift to the universe. And I'm honored to be in a position where I can do this work in a way that actually allows us to show up in excellence. So we talked about May being Mental Health Awareness Month. And we've talked about the importance of mental health and mental wealth. Right? When I talk about mental fitness, that's pouring into your wealth. That's pouring into your mental wealth, like your ability to show up, living, with this. We talk about 7 levels of living powerfully, and level 1 includes this concept of positive intelligence. Right? It's this concept of saying, how do I truly lean in and minimize my saboteurs, those things that don't serve me? How do I increase my superpowers, the things that I know will lead to the results that I want? And how do I literally shift in the moment? And I had 3 people reach out to me one-on-one right after the last show. And I thought that was so brave. And I can be reached either through online. I think these were LinkedIn actual messages. I think maybe our Facebook Live is not going through or something. I don't know. But the interesting part is that we get to show up in excellence. We get to show up in a way that allows us to ask questions with no fear and no judgment. And so 2 of the questions had to do with the concept that I mentioned of feeling our feelings. And then one of the individuals asked 2 questions, and they were talking about, so it was really 3 people with 4 questions, but they were talking about this idea of not necessarily feeling comfortable moving forward. They were like, you make it sound so easy, but what do you do when it's not easy? Like when, and I know Tony Robbins just did this whole seminar, and he's working with all these wonderful, amazing people, and you'll see him jumping around and getting physically, activated around just doing one thing. So feeling your feelings, the good ones and the bad ones, right, are important. What we try to focus on is, allowing yourself to feel feelings without going down a path of, known outcomes that don't align with the results that you want. So you don't need to feel your feelings every time somebody says something that should in a normal world, like create negative feelings for you. You don't have to. That's not what we mean by feel all your feelings. Just to be clear. That's a moment where you should be putting up a force field, right? A reflection that says, your sage joy. It's so powerful. Like when you shine and radiate joy and peace, and you're on purpose and you're in flow, it's like those things kind of bounce off automatically, right? And if it's not happening automatically for you, then it's you need to be conscious to create a visual, force field that says, I know when I'm in a meeting with this person, they always trigger me. And when I come home, my child always says something, this 16, 17, 18, that age where they sometimes get a little wacky. And maybe they trigger you. Maybe it feels disrespectful. And maybe your response is, has not been aligned with the positive energy that you like, right? So it's those cases where you just decide, this is the forceful part. You don't have to feel those feelings. Someone says something bad to you, you don't have to feel the feelings associated with that other people might feel. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, I'm plugging my computer in. My bad. Anyway, so you don't have to feel those feelings, right? You don't have to feel like, oh my God, this person just harmed me in some way. Sorry. It's okay. Yay. So you get to show up with a level of protection, right? So mental health awareness, you get permission to feel your feelings, but you also don't have to feel your feelings. You're like, what? So let me clarify. Show up in excellence. Okay. So show up in excellence in the sense that in the moment, what you get to do is you get to decide that today is going to be, when you wake up in the morning, by the way, you start early and then you do it kind of throughout the day, right? If we're focusing on Mental Health Awareness Month and we're focusing on choices that we get to make, and I have things, just to be clear, 3 or 4 things that I'm actually, fixing, I guess would be the number one area. But if you want to think about how do you show up in excellence in every area of your life, whether you're joining us for the first time or you've been watching and you're like, I just want to go deeper on how do I become more resilient, right? How do I boost my mindset? How do I learn these practical tools? That's what this show is all about. That's what it's all about. So let me just start with defining mental resilience, right? So the concept of resilience really has to do with how quickly do you come back to like that positive state of being, right? If you were going through your day, right? And you had very high intentions on what you were going to get done. And instead you encountered someone that, could have ruffled your feathers, and you decide in the moment, with a little empathy. This is one of our superpowers, right? One of our sage superpowers. You can start with empathy, because they might their energy, their saboteur, their negative energy, their attack, perhaps it could be like someone literally throwing darts at you, and you're like, like I'm being harmed in the moment. Well, you get to decide. You get to decide in that moment if I'm going to feel stabbed, or if I'm going to, like my force field is going to not allow that to penetrate today. How exciting is that? And then you look back and you kind of smile, because you see that something came to you, right? Some words or some energy, and it didn't attack you. Like, it didn't penetrate. Like, you get to decide. Like, you create that. People look at me all the time and they're like, wow, that was a great reaction. And it's like, oh, thank you. Like, I almost don't think about it half the time now, right? Like I said, there's 4 things that I'm working on right now that I got to go backwards to kind of fix up and clean up. And I've been not well, so I've given myself some grace too. Like, right, I've had some physical situations where I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna show up when I can, and I'm going to do the best I can, and I'm gonna keep it moving. And when I'm physically able, I'm gonna come back and do some additional things in these areas. And so I just wanted to remind people to give yourself some grace as well. But also this idea of, and some people had never even heard of this before. So I did do 2 calls with one of the callers, one of the people who sent a message. But yeah, you don't have to allow a situation which has triggered you in the past, which has taken you down a negative path in the past. You don't have to allow that to negatively influence you. So that is kind of the so that is kind of, I'm sorry, someone just texted me as well in the comments, and so I'm responding. So, you know, what I think for my beautiful people is, if we're honoring Mental Health Awareness Month and we want to go deep and we want to focus on how you show up in excellence, how do you show up for yourself? How do you show up at work? How do you show up for your community? How do you show up for your family, right? Just remember to pause. Remember the power of the pause. Right? And the smile. I was coaching someone, senior executive, and I kept telling him about the smile. I was like, you look really serious. So if you smile a bit more, your body's gonna create a different level of energy too, right? Like those endorphins, and you know, like it creates a space where people see you, you know, differently, but first you see yourself differently. Like, I get to enjoy life. I get to have fun with this. You know, right? I don't have this is not, nobody's dying today, right? So like, I get to this, we can have joy and we can have peace, and this is a good thing. And so that's another reminder for people, is that you get to show up. So when you're watching this show, when you're talking to other people, when you wake up in the morning, remember to take a deep breath, inhale and exhale, right? So as you think about, you know, the you know, your presence, no one's going to be perfect, but it's really being present. Can you be fully here rather than chasing the flaws, right? Like something happened, their flaw is going to trigger your flaw, and then your flaw is going to go deeper because, right? And now you're going to be like, you know, right? Like, it's a whole situation where you can just have compassion over criticism, right? Notice how you talk to yourself. Man, I shouldn't have done that, or what, you know, whatever is happening from a mental health awareness perspective. Our saboteurs are the voices that speak to us. Right. I've talked about this week in and week out, but our saboteurs are the ones that speak to us in a negative way. They're creating the stress. It's like our voices, whatever we believe, right? We talk about beliefs, that's deeper coaching work. So I haven't taken many of you on we've talked about the belief journey, and how you need to do work around your beliefs. It's the roots. So this work is around creating a new operating system. How do you show up differently? So if you believe in compassion over criticism, notice how you talk to yourself, right? Are you your own coach, or your best coach? Are you your own coach, or are you your own critic? Your best coach or your best critic? Let me say that again, right? Compassion over criticism. So start with yourself, and then think about the people that you're working with, right? Progress over, you know, like perpetual striving. Oh, I'm going to do the thing. I'm drowning. It's so much. I see all the big things. Like, right? A lot of people feel like there's so much to do. And then they're perpetually, striving to not drown because they're focusing on all the things, right? So this is me paddling. That's what that is. Yeah, help, right? Help. I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to get over the hump. I'm trying to stay above water. That's me paddling. Right. So really not thinking about all the things. This is the other big win for the day, and what I was sharing with the individuals that felt like that. Oh, that was a big win for them. I look forward to hearing from you guys this week again and learning more about what worked best for you. But it really does need to be choosing one thing, like one small step forward. It counts. So whatever that small step is, not all the things. Can you do one thing? Yeah. And then you celebrate yourself, celebrate the thing. Close your eyes and think about one thing, one way that you want to show up in excellence. You can also close your eyes and say, what's one thing that I did last week that was better than I did it the week before? Yay! Right? Let me say that again. Celebrate the progress, right? Celebrate. It's not like I gotta, always. Maybe budget is your thing and you're trying to spend less and you're like, well, I didn't do all the things that I wish I had done from a budget perspective. Maybe I made a little bit more money, or maybe I spent a little less money, or maybe, whatever. I didn't buy, those expensive coffees every day. I only did it twice. And as opposed to saying, oh, I did it twice. Oh, I only did it twice, and I used to do it 7 days a week. So yay, it was 5 days that I didn't do it, right? Or whatever. So you're celebrating your progress over this overwhelming feeling that there's all these things. So mental health awareness is about you deciding what you're going to do for you first. That put your mask on first kind of concept applies to your mental health as well, right? So deciding I'm going to have compassion over criticism for myself as well as those around you. I just jumped right in this time. Every choice is a chance that we get to show up differently, right? So pause, pivot, proceed. Right? We talked about the power of the pause, and someone was like, I love that so much. I don't always pause. And again, we do this coaching, the 6-week coaching program. We do a whole series of training and coaching. And a lot of it is just the practice of. And so we show up once a week, and it's like, if you can do these things and come back next week and be like, oh my God, I tried this and it really worked. Pause, pivot, and then proceed, right? So pause, notice the moment, notice the opportunity, notice the shenanigans, notice the dark coming, and notice you saying, ooh, like right, you've already decided that when this situation happens, I am going to put up a force field, an invisible force field, and smile. No matter what comes from that person's mouth, right? I'm going to put up an invisible force field and I'm going to smile. I'm making this up, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? We all have these people in our lives that kind of rub us the wrong way, that cause a little agitation that might trigger our saboteurs as well. So now we're, there's saboteur contagion. Everybody's on the edge. So you get to decide, pause. So notice the moment, notice whatever's happening to you in the moment, in this moment. You want to physically feel your feelings. That's what I meant by feel your feelings. Like check in with yourself. Right? It could be a gulp and then let it be a breath. But something's happened and it's like, this could take you down a path. It could take you down 2 hours of you thinking about, I can't believe they said that. I should have said this, blah, blah, blah. Whatever the negative things that might come, maybe they're right. Maybe I do suck. You know what I mean? Like whatever the negative thoughts that will come into our mind that the saboteurs would create for you, or that someone else's saboteur is kind of almost trying to put upon you. So you get to pause, notice the moment, give them the hand, the proverbial hand. Right? Say, no, I'm not going there. Choose a healthier thought or an action. Like, I don't know what I used to do, but when those saboteurs show up, it's like, yay. And it's like literally when we take people through this thing, some people think it's kind of corny, but you see the saboteur, you see what you would have done previously, and you get to celebrate it. Just seeing it and stopping is worth celebrating. And then your brain is like, oh, something different is happening here. I want to take notice and I want to do this more frequently. So that's where the pause and celebrate comes in. You pause, you pivot, and then you proceed, right? You pause, pivot. I like to pray. That's another P I throw in there. But at least pause, pivot. You get to process, right? And then you can proceed, right? So the 4 P's, the power of decisions, but the power of the pause says whatever's happening, you get to choose a healthier thought or an outcome, right? And then you get to move forward. So if you were feeling overwhelmed, oh, I'm going to do my overwhelmed sound again. Lord, oh my God, I have so much to do. I'll never get it all done. That's what you're saying to yourself. You're like, that's the brakes. That's put the brakes on that. That is not going to help you get it done, number one, because now you're in this fight or flight mode. We've talked about this before. I just want to get a little bit more realistic for people who like, I just sometimes feel overwhelmed and I can't do anything. Literally, one of the ladies said, I have trouble getting out of bed some days. I feel you, sister. Did I tell you guys that I got hit by a drunk driver? Yeah, I had PTSD. Fortunately, it was during COVID around that time. So, I still have some triggers on a more than regular basis that I like to admit. But I know what it feels like to not want to get out of bed, right? To just feel uncomfortable. And so if we practice together, we can just have you sit comfortably. If you're not driving, you can close your eyes. Say you just woke up. Say even before you wake up, right? You get to decide what the day is going to be. And just think of one wonderful thing you're going to do. It's like the power of, powerful beginnings, right? These powerful beginnings. So you start your day with excellence. And just say, what is the one thing I want to do today, right? They talk about like building these rituals, right? Or these habits. And starting your day, it's like, I'm just going to do one thing. If your one thing is, I'm going to brush my teeth with intention, right? I'm going to, someone was talking about working out. And if one little step along the way includes taking your shoes out and getting that organized, and if you don't work out that day, put your shoes out, right? And the next day they'll be out, and then you can find a t-shirt that you want to put on. Like these can be tiny little baby steps, and every little baby step that you take, one a day, will still lead you if you consistently do one a day. So you get to proceed into the next task with calm and focus because you've paused as you're starting. And most times when you start your day, if you don't like have this ridiculously long list of all the things that you're not gonna get done today, or this horrible long list of all the things that you gotta get done in the day, it's like, yeah, I would love to do 20 things, but I'm gonna do 3. I'm gonna start with this one, and then I'm gonna do this next one, and then I'm gonna do this next one. If I can get 3 things done, yay me, yay me. And if you have this big task like losing weight, and you're like, today I'm gonna eat a salad, I'm gonna drink a lot, I'm gonna fill this thing up 6 times today. All you can do is the first time, and then you do the next time, and then you do the next time. But you have focus because you've done it once. I have filled this up like many, many times today. So if you think about your ability to create the outcome and the life that you desire, mental health is really about choosing that you're going to do better because you have control over how you respond to yourself, to your thoughts. You can shut them down. Oh, I see a negative thought. Yeah, I shut it down. Did you see me shaking it? Oh, I shut down a negative thought. Celebrate the shutdown. That in itself is part of your creating new neural pathways. I know it sounds insane and ridiculous, but just try it. Just try it. It's like scientifically proven to work. It's part of neuroscience and the positive psychology and the cognitive behavioral psychology, right? It's all. So I'm just telling you things that we know that are proven to work. So for people who like, sometimes it's hard for me to get out of bed. So when you're in bed, decide that what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take a shower. That's going to be my first success of the day. And then when I'm in the shower, I'm going to celebrate myself. Woo! I got out of bed by set a time. Let me get out of bed by this time, and I'm going to take a shower. Yay! I'm just saying, you got to celebrate that one little thing. And that celebration, it puts you, like I said, it's the neural pathway. So you get to, you're breathing. I'm just going to take a shower. Or maybe I'm just going to brush my teeth first because that's less energy, right? So once I brush my teeth, yay, I brush my teeth. Okay, now I'm going to take a shower. I actually brush my teeth in the shower. So those two things, TMI, right? But anyway, I have multiple tooth. I have a fetish. I have like a toothbrush fetish. I think I have like 3 or 4 like electric toothbrushes, like around. Like, so I love brushing my teeth. I do. I used to have dreams about my teeth falling out. When I was younger, I was looking over a bridge and something was happening and I'm like, ew, that is not good. So I say that to say, brush your teeth if that's a thing, take a shower if that's a thing, but celebrate whatever it is. Drinking water, right? Having a different reaction to someone or something, celebrate those things. That's kind of the power of the pause. So if you're sitting and you breathe in, hold it and exhale. You can scan your body for tension. Wherever you feel tight, just imagine, the next time you exhale, it's just melting off. So mentally scan your body, right? Scan your day. Where can I take another 30-second pause throughout my day to reset? And you hold that intention, wiggle your fingers, open your eyes, and notice how you feel. So if you think about this concept of resilience, your ability to bounce back, your ability to adapt despite adversity. Adapt, meaning cultivating these small wins. One of the individuals, we talked about them journaling 1 gratitude per day, like just writing down, texting yourself, right? They're like, journal, I gotta go find the book, I lose my book. Then just text yourself. We all have our phones. Text yourself. Text me if you want to, right? 1 gratitude a day. Like, what are you grateful for? But cultivating these small wins, right? And when you don't feel like showing up, your top tip would be, again, take those breaths. So just breathing, it brings control. Slow breathing, slow intentional breathing. Just doing that, it actually brings control from that, fight or flight kind of mentality to your prefrontal cortex. So it's like it creates your ability, it improves your ability to reason, to pause, to take the next step, right? So you can take a few breaths, 4, right? And if you think about, before I go into the next break, I'm gonna provide some numbers that I did not provide last time. There was the mental health lifelines. There's a crisis text line. You could text the word HOME, HOME, to 741-741. I love that. There's also a helpline. The Mental Health America is one of the websites that you can go to as well. There's a number, it's 1-800-940-NAMI. Again, 1-800-950-NAMI. So there's all kind of, there's websites, M for mental, and then health, H, and then the letter A, Mental Health America, and then national.org is another resource. So I know we were ending the show last time and I didn't get those in as quickly as I wanted to. And so I wanted to do that. So we're at 6:27. I know I'm supposed to take my first break right now. I immediately got into what to do. And I really wanted the people who had reached out to me last week to hear the answers to their questions. And so stay with me, guys. We're going to be right back with more Better Together and Living Powerfully. And remember, this is Mental Health Awareness Month and you have control. You can live your very best life. So stay with me. We'll be right back.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not explaining to my intern exactly what R&B is, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Sediment cleanup of the lower Duwamish River has begun. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and the members of the Lower Duwamish Waterway Group, which includes King County, the City of Seattle, and Boeing, have begun sediment cleanup of the Lower Duwamish Waterfall Superfund site. This important environmental project will address sediment pollution and help restore the health of the Duwamish River. Starting on the waterway's upper reach, construction activities extend from the South 102nd Street Bridge down straight to the Duwamish Waterway Park. Over the next 3 years, in-water activities will occur from October to February, ending in February 2027. Visit ldwg.org to learn about the upper reach cleanup and sign up for email updates.
Hello, I'm Tony Young, and every week I will be your guide to the music of the Fab Four with my show With the Beatles. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr, those four lads from Liverpool. First airings are Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. with repeats on Thursdays and Saturdays from 8 to 10 a.m. right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. Tune in to catch Beatlemania.
What's up, everyone? It's your girl, Queen Bree, inviting you to come join me on Clean Greens Living. Broadcasted Tuesdays, 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, live right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. On Clean Greens Living, we talk farming, community, and ways to being healthy. So come join me and let's discuss ways to create a healthier you and a healthier community.
Are you in need of new or gently used clothing? Hope's Community Closet is here to help. We offer a wide range of clothing for men, women, youth, children, and infants. Join us on the fourth Saturday of each month from 12:30 to 4 at the Silent Task Force. We're giving clothing with care, community with heart. Lovely Ladies Lemonade for sale, and shop to the sound of old school soul. Any questions? Contact Alicia Kennedy, Executive Director of Women United at 206-316-7601. 206-316-7601. Come and find the perfect outfit for you and your family. We look forward to seeing you there.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Rainier Avenue Radio.world, the station that cares about our community.
Yeah.
I love this. Wow. Can you believe that it's May 19th, which means we're almost halfway through 2025. Woo, I was just in Africa in December, in January, and it does not seem like that was 5 months ago. Oh my goodness. So let me just say, for those of us who are like, oh my God, I have so many things that I wanted to get done in by December of 2025. Today is the new day. Today is another day, another opportunity for you to truly live powerfully. So it is okay. Again, I had to start this session with people who reached out to me and was like, sometimes I don't feel like getting out of bed, right? I don't feel like it. And as a refresher, I get it. Sometimes we all have that, right? So if that's the case and you don't feel like getting out of bed, just kind of notice the tensions. Notice where that's happening for you, right? If you're in bed, put your feet onto the floor, press your toes against the carpet, right? Move your toes and say, I choose life, right? If you're at your desk, you're looking at a blank screen, type one word, type anything, right? Open a new document, write the date. That's it. One physical gesture. That's how you break a freeze, right? You got to do a thing. Hands up, palms up, right? Woo! Celebrate. And then you do one thing and you celebrate, and you might be like, oh, I can do one more thing. Yay. If you celebrate hard enough, your brain is like, I don't know what she just did, but I like it, right? So it's, if we talked about those P's initially, right? We were talking about the power of the three P's, the pause, the pivot, and then proceed. So pause, meaning notice the moment, pivot, choose a healthier thought or an action, something, one tiny little thing, right? Celebrate it. And then proceed, move forward with intention, something that is going to be aligned with what you were hoping and planning to accomplish in the first place, right? So if you got the We talked about a few things, right? We talked about presence over perfection. So, and having compassion. So just because you're like, and I'm so grateful that these people were able to say, I am struggling getting out of bed. Ooh, tell me more. Like I appreciate the fact that people are, open enough and willing to share. And so someone just texted me and I want to give them my contact information. There you go. So I'm a resource. I am a community resource. I really, really, really am not showing up for myself. This is about us. So again, for those people who are struggling, and again, maybe it's not, I'm struggling to get out of bed, but man, I have this big project that I've been trying to finish. I'm trying to raise $10 million. I'm working with someone who is in that position and we're doing it like one step at a time. That's all you can do, right? So I've had people say, I have burnout in my job. I had people telling us about some issues that they were having at work where it was shenanigans, systemic shenanigans. And I was like, ooh, thank you, Jesus, that I'm not in that space. Thank you, Jesus, that I get to show up doing the work I love, right? In a space where I feel like I'm following my divine calling. But it's okay to feel scared, right? It's okay to feel overwhelmed, but you don't have to stay there. Right? It's like acknowledge the resistance, right? Say the words, I feel stuck. And then reframe it with curiosity. Now, what's one tiny action that I can take? Say the words, I feel stuck right now. I hate feeling stuck. Ask yourself, what is one tiny action I can take right now? That's the do. That's the micro action. Right? It could be just for 60 seconds. You can stand up for 60 seconds and just stretch your body. Let the inertia reignite your momentum, right? Grab a pen and paper if you're trying to write something down, right? Write down something that you're grateful for, right? Some inspiration, right? Something that has inspired you in the past. But if mental health and mental wealth, right, are yours for the taking, then you get to decide, you get to choose, right? And for me, what probably gets me most excited is being in a position where I know that we can help people. So if we first acknowledge that your judge or any other, I'll say your judge or any other saboteur might be showing up, you want to just pause and say, what's happening right now, right? When the judge shows up and it's like your harshest saboteur and it's condemning you. It's like, man, you're so lazy. I can't believe you're still in bed. It's already 12 o'clock, right? The situation, this is so unfair to me, right? Whatever it is, this situation was me. It's like these thoughts are going to come into our head. These saboteurs are going to show up. And my ask for each of you is to decide, you know what? What I'm going to do is opposed to judging myself, right? I'm going to ask, first I'm going to acknowledge that I see the judge, because just like labeling him is a win. And we talk about that, right? And you can even ask yourself, what am I judging now? Am I judging myself? Am I judging the situation, or both, right? And then how does this judgment serve me? If it doesn't, then just label it and say, okay, well, I'm going to just take 3 quick breaths, 3 slow breaths, but I'm going to do it relatively quickly. Do it as soon as I think I need to pivot, right? I'm going to breathe. And you can thank the judge for trying to protect you. Thank you. Right. But what I'm going to do is, instead of feeling helpless, sad, or resentful, you can name an emotion, right? It may whisper, poor me. I always get stuck in these things. And I'm always, whatever story you're telling yourself, whatever victim story you might be telling yourself, you get to shift and say, I choose something different, right? Like a micro choice, right? You get to take a step. So when you say I choose, you get to choose and list 3 things that are within your control that you can do, 3 tiny actions that you can take, and then just do one. These 3, I got 3 options. I could stand up, I could stretch, good. I could walk outside and breathe some fresh air, good. I could go get some delicious water and drink it. Like whatever it is, if you're still in bed, you want to get up, do something, right? If you talked about starting a business, but you haven't done the things, do one thing, like file for your EIN number. You know what I'm saying? Like decide I need a business plan. And again, I used to I used to do the training for SCORE, which is free training. They have the free business mentors. And I was the D&I lead for Seattle SCORE. And I used to do the business planning training. So first thing you want to do is write stuff down. Like, what do you want to accomplish? What are your special, unique skills? What makes you the right one to offer this thing, right? So just being clear on what you want to accomplish, that's really important. So shifting your language and deciding that, and instead of saying what you can't do, think about what you can do and then choose to do it. Choose to do just one thing, right? If there are 3 things in your control, just choose one. So I love it when our little avoiders show up. And sometimes the avoider is saying, you know what, I just want to be comfortable. I want to avoid conflict. It kind of seduces you to, you know, to daydream or to just do some busy work and not do the one thing that you need to do. So just one. So whatever's happening when your mind is zigging and zagging and you're restless or you're unproductive, ask yourself, what am I avoiding? Like, what's the uncomfortable task or the uncomfortable emotion that I'm avoiding right now? What's the worst that can happen if I face it? Right. So you do have to kind of talk to yourself, talk yourself in and out of these things. So being able to be in a position to say, okay, just take, again, a few minutes. People say 10 seconds is all you need to really shift out of, it's that breathing. So like 3 deep breaths. And you do need 3. By 3, I'm feeling good. And by 4, it's like, okay. Okay. One thing I could do is, right. And then you do it, right? Like, just do it. Do the one thing. And it could be a 2-minute promise that I'm going to take a break afterwards, right? If you haven't worked out, I'm just going to stand up and I'm going to do toe touches for 2 minutes. Maybe I'll do more. Okay, that felt pretty good. I'll do something else. So it's like, whether it's writing, I've been trying to write this book and I haven't been able to get it done. Or I've been trying to, whatever it is, right? You want to do one small step in a short period of time, and that is your action. Like, that is the thing. I like to think about these saboteurs so that we can address them one by one. So we talked about the judge, what it might be, you're judging yourself or others. Talk about the avoider, which is going to, keep you still typically, or not. Maybe you're busy, but you're not doing the one thing you should be doing, right? So it's kind of like, okay, what is one thing I can do toward that goal, right? The controller, right, drive you to dominate outcomes. Like, I got to do this, right? It shows up as anger sometimes anxiety when things don't go your way. And so when you're trying to micromanage, you lose your flexibility. So it's like, what outcome am I pushing for is what you can ask your question. And what happens if I loosen my grip a little bit? It's the opposite of your normal intuitive next step as a controller. You want to tighten your grip, but it's like, what can I learn if I let go? Just let go, right? And by let go, I mean, don't try to micromanage everyone around you, right? Step away for 2 minutes, journal, you can write down, right? Some insight that might come to you. And then, you might want to think about, like I said, choosing, it's like detach from the outcome. That's one of the things. One of my favorite books is Deepak Chopra. It's the 7 laws of spiritual success. And I think it's law number 5, right? I believe it is. It's like detach from the outcome. And as a controller, that was the hardest one for me. I'm like, what do you mean detach from the outcome? Are we supposed to be focused on the outcome? That's the point. You got to get these things done. And detaching from the outcome really creates a level of freedom, right? Because you're just going to do your part. You can't control other people. You can't control what they're going to say. You can control how you respond to it, right? Does that make sense? So the book is, I would suggest that this is a book that I got from Debrina Jackson Gandy. It's pretty thin as well. Deepak's book is about half this size and about, like it's super thin. This is one of my favorite books, though, The Love Lies. But I would recommend that you just think about doing less and being more present to those around you, right? Letting the universe kind of create a space where you're not letting your thoughts take you on a path where, you don't want to go. So you get to pause. And when you see a saboteur showing up, you get to say, put the brakes on, right? Think about the hyperachiever, like chasing down the next goal, right? If you ever feel empty after a win or you fear failure, right? Ask yourself, who are you without those achievements? Right? What would nourish me most in this moment beyond the next win? What would nourish me right now? Right? Like I'm valuable simply because I am. Do you believe that? If you're a hyperachiever, that's the voice that kind of keeps you pushing toward the next thing. Check the box, check the box, check the box. It's like life has got to be deeper than boxes being checked, especially when you're checking somebody else's boxes, working for somebody else, and it's their box, and it's like, is this a fulfilling life? This is my definition of a fulfilling life. Okay, I stayed in the hamster wheel and I kept rocking it. Okay, I got up on a different hamster wheel and I'm still rocking it. But are you feeling at peace? Are you feeling like you've really accomplished what you were put on this earth to accomplish? I hope so. And if not, you get to change that right now. I'm not saying get off the hamster wheel. I am saying think about why you're on it and what's happening while you're there. I was going to talk about yet another one of the saboteurs, the hyperrational, right? Hyperrational, someone who logic is the most important thing for them. They're somewhat emotionally distant. And so when you're analyzing something endlessly and you're struggling to connect with your feelings or the feelings of others, you can pause and ask yourself, what might I be missing or what might I be overthinking? Right? How do I really feel about this? So sometimes you can bring your feelings into it. So it's like a check-in. Name one emotion in your body in the moment, right? How are you really, right? Without a solution, just empathy. How are you, right? How are you doing? I can keep going through other saboteurs, but what I really wanted people to think about is this combination of recognizing the saboteurs that you might see the most, the things that might show up, the voices that show up in your head. Let me use language that anybody can understand. The voices that show up in your head telling you that you ain't good enough, right? Or that you need to do something for someone else when they could actually do it for themselves, right? Or that thing that you just prepared isn't good enough. You're a stickler, like you're down in the weeds and it has to be perfect, right? Not progress over perfection, but I need perfection. It's like it's those voices that create anxiety that you need to stop and be like, no, that's not true, right? You can say that. Remember that force field we were talking about at the beginning of this session? You get to kind of take yourself, on a journey and kind of ask yourself, like, what is the gift here? What is the gift in whatever the situation is? Because there's always a gift. If you close your eyes, if you're not driving, breathe in, right? Exhale the tension. Think about that tension in your body. And like in the moment, it's like, hey, I get to decide right now in this moment when those things show up and those voices show up in our head. That's what mental health awareness month, right, can be the beginning of a new life for people. It's like, oh, I didn't know I didn't have to be stressed out. You don't ever have to be stressed out over anything ever again. You decide. You deserve joy. Like we get to claim it and say, that's my normal being. I am happy. I'm a happy person. And I choose not to let unhappy people put their blah, 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 on me. Like someone sent me this long text and I was like, yeah, I'm not, I can't do that right now. Like I can't. Sorry. I won't even read it half the time because it's like I'm not letting that into my body because that is not who I am, right? I'm happy to have a conversation, but just regurgitating some shenanigans, that's what sometimes young people do. And I was working with a parent who said that their child texts them, and I was like, yeah, you want to keep all lines of communication open, but you want to sit eye to eye with your beautiful child and y'all want to connect, right? Human to human, person to person. So I'm going to just remind people of that. I don't have children. I have nieces and nephews and I'm not a parent. But I've coached many parents who have thanked me for a different perspective, different tools, different opportunities, different ways to connect. And if families can go on these types of journeys together where you're not pointing out their flaws, you're actually pointing out your own. And that's the work. Like, oh, honey, I'm sorry. That was my controller. Right? When you're putting something on them, then they see you model the behavior, right? Of, oh, I'm sorry. I was maybe being too pushy, or I was being such a perfectionist. This is great. Like, right, whatever it is, like you get to decide how you show up better. And it's when you show up better, when you see your own saboteurs, when you see the things that are not aligned with who and what you would hope would be how you show up, then you get to identify that in the moment, right? And I think young people, even your team, like I work with coaches. I coach executives who are leading their teams, and I've coached board leaders as well who are trying to lead their team. And it's like, if we can all be on this journey together, it is magnificent in 100 different ways. And I think creating a space where we know that to be true and we're able to follow through on these actions are a beautiful thing. I'm just responding to someone's text. So again, one of the elements, if I had to summarize why Mental Health Awareness Month, mental health is so important, is one of two things. So hopefully the person who just texted me said that they appreciate it. So I'm like, yeah, I'm glad this is valuable. So for mental health is, it's a foundation for well-being. So our mental health shapes how we think, how we feel, and how we behave daily, how we react to situations. So having strong emotional resilience, it helps you to cope with stress, to overcome challenges, and to adapt to change. So again, the concept of resilience, I think I'm trying to get you, if that makes sense. So, I'm sorry, I heard a voice. So to helping you to get ahead of it, helping you to get ahead of the stress and the anxiety is deciding up front that you're not going to go down that path. That as soon as one of your saboteurs start to talk to you because you know where they're going to take you, that's when you say, I don't need to feel those feelings. Like, I don't need to go down that path every time because I already know where it's going to lead me. So that's where I wanted to kind of circle back as we close the show out. I can't believe we have 5 minutes left. But I wanted to circle back to the difference between, which I did say last session, it's important to feel your feelings. So we talk about the pause, right? Right? Creating a space where you can pause, acknowledging what is happening in the moment is important. You don't have to acknowledge the negative feelings for any extended period of time. That's the difference. You don't have to wallow in it. You guys know the difference between wallowing and seeing them. Oh, okay, I see you trying to take me down this path. And it's like, the quicker you do it, the better. That's another layer of resilience, because you could decide 2 days after you've been wallowing in some shenanigan energy that, okay, I'm gonna pop back now. But the resilience and the true proactive nature of living powerfully is in the moment. All of these things, the more you can do in the moment, the more you can resist the temptation to go down some path that you would if your saboteurs took over. It's like that's the sound of brakes screeching. Pause, right? I choose not to go there. And then you celebrate. Yeah, I saw this. I stopped one of my saboteurs. Like, I didn't go down the path. And you may be like, I don't know what I'm gonna do next. You can ask yourself, what's the most empathetic thing I can do right now? What's the most compassionate thing I can do right now for myself and for this other person? Right. So even if you just ask the question, right? Oh, I don't know. And then remember, we talked about the superpowers of innovate. Like, you get to ask the question, think of, I can do 5 things. I can do 10 things. I don't know. But then you're only going to do one. So if you empathy is like the pause, create some compassion, you can innovate. Like, what would be, if you ask the question, you want to explore first. So empathy is first. So you pause, and with compassion, you want to explore, ask the question. So what could be, like, what am I missing in this situation? What might this other person be going through who may have just, threw a dart at me that would have maybe hurt my feelings, but I'm deciding, they're okay, right? Like, what can I say to that person? Imagine if that's how you showed up in the world, right? It's not like turn the other cheek, like let people stab you. No, No, that's not what we're saying at all. We're just basically saying life is going to have a bunch of shenanigans and you decide how you respond to them, right? So, right, putting the brakes on, celebrating that you put the brakes on, and realizing that the foundation for well-being, your resilience, says if you can do it in the moment, that's just the most powerful, right? In the moment. And if you go for 10 minutes or an hour or 2 hours, it doesn't matter. When you come back, you come back. Hey, oops, sorry, I didn't do what I wish I would have done in that moment. But here's how I want to correct that. Here's how I want to fix it. And they don't have to let you fix it, but at least you're coming back to saying, here's what I want to do differently, right? Here's how I want to show up differently. If you think about your physical health connection to chronic diseases, heart disease, all those things like sleep and nutrition, right? Those things are connected to your mental well-being as well. We always talk about productivity and performance as well, but feeling, like you can truly focus better and make better decisions and be more creative. Organizations that have a healthy culture see reduced absenteeism. They see higher engagement. So it's definitely how we increase our productivity as an individual, for your team, for the organization, for your board, whatever it is. And then if you think about relationships, whether it's personal, at work, and the community, right? It's about mutual understanding and support. So emotional balance allows you to be empathetic and have better communication. And I think did you tell me I'm out of time? So I have a couple more minutes. I think I have 2 more minutes. So we want to talk about also community and economic impact. So again, if you think about mental health conditions, that they cost so much, right? Loss of work days, loss of productivity, loss of energy. Think about your own personal life, your lifelong growth, your purpose. Like if you're focused on self-awareness and personal growth and a sense of meaning, then your mental well-being empowers you to pursue those goals, to contribute to your commitments, right? To yourself and to your community and to others. So at the end of the day, the best we can do really for ourselves and for those around us is to decide that in the moment, I am going to choose joy, right? I am going to choose whatever is going to help me to accomplish this particular goal. And by that, I mean, you're not, let me just clarify, you're not, the power of decision says, I've decided even before the day has started that this is going to be a great day. I've already decided. It's going to be a wonderful day, no matter what happens. And so if I think about my P's, right, I get to pause, right? I get to just pause and I get to decide in this particular moment that I am going to notice what's happening. I'm going to pivot to a healthier decision, and then I'm going to proceed. So those 3 P's is kind of how I want to close out the day. Pause, pivot, and then proceed. So pause, notice the moment, notice the feelings, decide that in this moment, I'm going to do my best and be my best, right? The pivot is saying I'm going to choose to not go down a negative path. I'm going to choose not to let my own saboteurs or someone else's take me down a path that is less than effective. And then if you think about this concept of truly proceeding with excellence, living powerfully, it's because you've decided, right? Presence over perfection. Can I fully, show up in perfection? Of course not. But can I be present in this moment? Absolutely. Can I choose compassion over criticism of myself and with others? Absolutely. Right? Can I take one small step forward, right? And then celebrate that one step. That is the story, y'all. That is the journey. And if I didn't give you enough information today, join us next week right here on Better Together and Living Powerfully, because again, I'm showing up. I'm showing up in excellence. And again, I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful that I am alive. Like I said, I had a lot of people pass away and relatives of people that I love passed away. And it just reminded me that I'm just grateful to be here. I'm grateful to show up for you. And I know you have things you want to accomplish. Each of you want to live powerfully. So go forth and prosper. That's all I can say. Go forth and prosper. And I know we have an amazing show next. And if I'm not, if nothing has changed, then we have Lidline Sports, the fastest hour in sports, hosted by Pep. Oh, and Michael Carter. Yay, there's more. More fun, better together, I guess. So stay with us, y'all, for Lidline Sports right here on Rainier Avenue Radio, and join us here next week for Better Together and Living Powerfully. You got this. Thanks.